Yo, gonna do some streamulating. Yeah, I see it. I have sound. I have some kind of a display. It's a little chonky. There's my high-res cough. Okay, I believe in the quality of the sound. I'm willing to believe in the quality of some video, if it ever shapes up. It's really obnoxious looking right now. What does my streamer have to say about that? This is Twitch Studio today. What can I do about the screen resolution? I thought it was supposed to be good at that. Well, let's start doing stuff to it. So hi, I'm Amitai. Today we're going to stream something open source. It's always something open source. Today what I'm in the middle of is the three major options are always package source, which is a cross-platform Unix package manager that I'm a developer for. There's always IkiWiki, which is a mostly static site generator, one of the very early ones, pretty influential. And finally, not Qmail, which is a community-based fork of the Qmail mail server. And these are always the three things that I'm working on, one way or the other, and sometimes they intersect. What I'm working on right now is package source, mostly. I have a Raspberry Pi at a remote location that I want to use the SSH file system to mount package source from another machine that's also in that location. And the reason that I want to do it that way is that package source is a zillion tiny files getting updated all the time, which is not awesome for a secure digital card or a micro SD or whatever the heck is in that Raspberry Pi. I don't have anything like SSD or even a spinning disk or even a USB flash drive. It's just an SD card. So it's wasteful to have all that locally when I have it on a build machine. I have a Mac Mini in the same location. It runs a ton of virtual machines, almost all of them, maybe all of them x86 because it's an x86. But I have a hardware Raspberry Pi in the same location, and I don't think it would work super well to do NFS there. I'm only doing NFS on localhost for that Mac Mini, and I don't really want to open that up. I'm not smart enough to do that securely. But SSHFS would be fine, and it would be better than what we have. And we would still be doing the builds on local disk. That still churns through the SD pretty well, but it would at least remove an extra copy of the package source tree that can get out of sync or otherwise be annoying to deal with. One of the motivations for this is I had a git checkout right here that I couldn't even run git gc garbage collect on it. It ran out of memory. And so I couldn't do a pull, I couldn't do a rebase, I couldn't do anything, and I wound up just blowing it away and doing a CVS checkout, the old school. CVS doesn't do any of the good stuff that Git does, but it has the redeeming quality that because it doesn't even try to understand change sets as an atomic concept, its memory requirements are a lot lower. And because it doesn't have any kind of like staging area, yeah, it's just, it does so much less that it can probably manage to keep a tree up to date. So I went back to checking that out from CVS, and then I was thinking, wait, no, I don't even need to do that. What I would do if this was a virtual machine on the Mac Mini is I would NFS mount package source from there. I can't quite do that, but SSHFS would be fine. I used to do SSHFS for the virtual machines before I did NFS, and it was also fine. So I'm going to switch to that. Now what I have here on the right-hand side is I'm connected to my Raspberry Pi. Let's see if I got a Joel today or not. I don't know if Joel's going to show. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I haven't seen him at these. Next thing I can say, oh yeah, I got a funny sound here. What was it? A first time chat, and I got a follow. Okay, that's all I know. When I get better at twitching, I'll do that off screen. I'm not that good at twitching, so I'm doing it on screen. So on the right hand side, as seen before you, I have this Raspbian Linux 11. Should be fairly up to date. I'm pretty nerdy about keeping stuff up to date. And on the left-hand side, I have some Git history of what I used to do when I used SSHFS for my other virtual machine. And in this hand, I have a magic wand that might be able to highlight some of the screen. Can it work? Will it blend? It seems not very charged. I'll plug that in and a little later we'll probably have it. Please hold. One of these cables can do it. It's this one. It's a USB-C, but not too fast charging cable. Okay, plugged in. Oh yeah, so you would. Now then, what I want to do, I don't have anything SSHFS yet. I did already do an apt-get install SSHFS, so I have it. And let me just resize this a little bit. Not like that. That's rectangle trying to be automatically helpful. That's a little better. Yeah. So this is a script I used to have, package source mount if needed, that would run to get this directory from my host Mac Mini mounted locally here. And these were three particular trees we expected to find in there: package source current, not qmail, and icky-wiki. If anybody knows how to make the font, like just the pixel quality be higher, I have my display at the lowest resolution available. I don't have any funny stuff going on. I guess I'll try quitting Zoom. See if that can help. Shouldn't be anything else chewing CPU. Yeah, on my iPad, looking at my own stream, it looks really rough in the terminal window. That's strange. Okay, so again, on the left-hand side, what we have here is a script package source mount if needed that had a couple different ways to do it. From NetBSD, it would call mount puffs. From most other systems, it would call mount SSHFS. Yeah, you can see here in the main. NetBSD would call puffs. FreeBSD, Linux, and OpenBSD would call SSHFS. So I don't need this generalization anymore. I don't use SSHFS anywhere else. I'm just going to take the good parts of this and put them on my Raspberry Pi. So for that, I'm going to send it to rpi sshfs dot sh, and then let's edit that thing up, take off the leading lines of Git, and then everything else, since this was a file removal, the first character, I can even do this with a global search and replace. For every leading dash, replace it with nothing. All right, and now we have a script. Now let's pare it down a little bit. I don't need any of this. I'm just going to call this no matter what. So let's promote that to be the only thing that main does. And then we can get rid of the one that isn't SSHFS. Yoink. And now we're doing okay. I'm not sure this IP address will hold. We'll fix that in a moment. What else are we going to need? We're going to call this program. It's going to run main. Main is going to run mount all SSHFS. And we're going to run that command. Aha, it's got 3 arguments. Check this out. Telltale, that's unusual, from and to. From and to makes sense. We want to mount from that network source to this local file system directory access point. Telltale is how you know if it worked. Because if we check for the existence of it, then we're in good shape and we can get out of here. In other words, it's already mounted. Okay, so it's a guard clause. It's if this is already mounted, don't do another SSHFS. That was the part of the file name that was if needed. Package source mount if needed. And that way I could just put this in like a login file and have it run arbitrarily many times. And the idempotent result should be that there's a network file system mounted there once. So with that, let's keep going. What happens here is it looks like we have to have an SSH agent running so that when we call SSHFS, there's a key loaded. And then it uses a file for ID mapping. We can pull this out too in a moment once we get the mechanics working. It looks like we should put that in home Etsy. All right, my feeling is this is good enough to copy over and wrestle with it. So let's SCP that over to the ingress point of this network. Oh yeah, you gotta give a file name that I just worked so hard on. That can be reached from here. Get rid of it. And, oh yeah, are there? Oh yeah, I might still want that in a moment. Okay. Now, over here, let's get that copied over to Schleyer Pi. Okay, and now, I should have that. I can put it into bin. And I don't like the .sh suffix so much. Let's do what it was called before. It was called SSHFS mount if needed. That was a good name. I like that. So we have SSHFS installed. We might not have all the configuration files that are needed. And I suspect this is not the right IP address, but let's see what we get if we try to run SSHFS mount. Is that not in my path? Should be. Let's pop back out and in. I can type, I promise. Hey now. Oh, you know what you have to do. I've been doing Unix for a long time, and I will eventually learn this before I make the mistake. You have to make it an executable program. You can't just want it to be one. You have to tell it to be one. That was the problem. Okay, now we'll get a different problem, and that's that we don't have the needed UID mappings. Did that prevent something from happening? Or, yeah, it looks like it probably did. Okay, so temporarily, I say don't do that. And also, before we go any further, this is going to try to mount stuff into home trees, which I think I have some actual files there. So it's not the end of the world if it shadows them, but that might not be what winds up happening. And then it would be the end of the world. It would be the end of the world. So I'm still charging this magic wand that doesn't work. And you go. Hey, didn't I have... I thought I had a camera on screen. Please hold. Webcam. Where is it? Right here. Bring to front or something, huh? Is that what it is? What's the trick? Never used this one before. Webcam goes on top. What's the trick? Is there more here? Yeah. Presumably, if... Wait a second. It's not even got my right webcam. This whole time, I thought you were looking at my face. Device. All right. That one. Amazing. Amazing how much better that works. Okay. Now you can see me. I'm sure it'll show up in my own stream in just a moment. And I guess I could try to jack up the bitrate on the sharing. That's my face. Hi. Stream quality. Can't change while we're in it. 480p 60. That's not awesome. That explains the problem. I'm going to stop and come right back. I think that's what I have to do.